Well, hey there. Welcome to Real WW Talk. We're so glad you're here. I'm Erin.
I'm Candice.
And I'm Rikki.
We've got a lot of new listeners and a lot of new viewers. So we just want to say welcome to you if it is your first time hanging out with us here on Real WW Talk. The quick backstory is we're just a couple friends who met in the WW meeting room. They'd kick us out because we'd spend so much time talking with one another. And so we've decided to create our own time and space and do it here with you every week.
Very good recap, Erin.
There it is. That's the 15-second recap. And so what we like to do each week is we like to spend a couple minutes checking in with one another and see how our week on the WW plan went. And then we'll talk about something that one of us is really feeling or struggling with for the week. So Candice is the keeper of who goes first to share. Candice, who goes first?
It is me this week.
Yeah.
So I am very, very happy that I am a consistent loser. I lost 1.4 this week. And I am over double digits lost for the month. So I'm very, very proud of my consistency again. I've been very consistent. I did start to kind of teeter a bit towards the end of the week, but I made intentional efforts to do what I preach, the next right thing. And I found that drinking water was something that was a great reset for me. So whenever I may have indulged a little bit, some of the Halloween candy got me, I drank a glass of water, I put it in my tracker, and then I reached out to a friend. So that was very, very, I'm starting to see that those recovery efforts are starting to pay off. And I'm feeling another big win for me is walking. I shaved 2 minutes off of my walking pace.
Wow.
So I was seeing that endurance is the biggest motivator for me. Forget the scale. That was the best.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So many wins.
Thank you.
Yeah, I see that you're able to acknowledge when you're at a point where you're uncomfortable with how many extra things you're eating or, how many points you're going over whatever you intended to go, and you're reaching out and you're being accountable. I think that accountability piece to not only an accountability partner, but to yourself, I think that's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
The other thing that I heard too is in something that could have turned really into a slip wasn't and didn't turn into a slide, and you added it to your tracker. And so that there was no hiding, there was no guilt, there was no shame. It was, I'm just going to stick it right in the tracker. And like you said, do the next right thing. And you picked up a healthy habit. You added a healthy habit to help counteract something that was turning into an unhealthy habit.
And I think honestly acknowledging the guilt, because there was a little guilt when I gave in. I was like, oh, come on. It's just a Reese. Like, I mean, I wanted to think I was more powerful than it. But then I said, okay. And that's not normal for me. So I want to acknowledge that this is a changing of my mindset, but I'm proud. So thank you all for your support. I think the talks are helping. I'm getting there slowly but surely.
You're doing it.
So Erin, how was your week?
So last week, remember I was up last week and I realized that I actually didn't weigh in. I completely forgot to weigh in, but I knew that I was up on my home scale. And so when I weighed in this week happened to be the week, what I say, like every 4 or 5 weeks, I have like some weird, like a big up on the scale. Mm-hmm. Well, this week I had a big up on the scale, even though I knew I was down, but I didn't have the weight from the previous week in there to like counteract or see where it was going. So I would say that this week the scale showed that I was up 3 pounds according to the WW scale. So I'm just going to leave it as that. That's what it's saying, but I know that it was not up 3 pounds because my home scale didn't say that. But either way, that's what's on the record and that's where things are staying. I will say that, I've kind of been in this real funky phase and I'm still trying to turn things around. And I realize what it's been for me has been the discipline and consistency. I've lost a lot of that. And I caught myself even today, I'm tracking everything. And I caught myself wanting to reach for something. And I stopped myself and I went, why am I reaching for this? I'm not hungry. I don't have the points. If I say that I want to be disciplined and I say that I want to be consistent, then I need to not reach for it and go, it won't matter, or it's just this little bit, because those are the habits that took me back to the side where I don't want to go. So I put it back. I didn't grab the other thing. And then I went and got a piece of fruit and I grabbed a glass of water. So I'm like, if I'm going to do something, I'm doing a 0 point something, and I'm going to do something that's 0 point and has nutrition that will be good for me, right? Feeding good stuff, nourishing foods. So, little by little getting back, but I'm still sticking with all of my exercise, still drinking my water. I'm trying to cut out. I don't know what's happened here, but this Coke Zero habit has started again, and I've got to cut it out. So I'm very reluctant to. I don't mind saying that, but I know this trips me up.
I remember you mentioning that you know that you're kind of not where you want to be mentally when you're kind of big on the Coke Zero.
Yes.
But you know, I'm really proud of you for acknowledging the lie. You know, we talked about the lies we tell ourselves. This little bit doesn't matter. I think that's a major win for you, that you were able to say, okay, wait a second. This does matter. I'm going to make a choice to drink water, to eat the other thing. And that could be the thing that kind of gets you where you need to go moving forward. So I hope you are, I'm very proud to hear that, because that's something that I know is hard to get to mentally.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm getting there little by little.
And I mean, Erin, just your response and saying, oh, the scale was up. It was mean to me. It didn't give me what I deserved. You know, you didn't have that attitude. You have such a great attitude of it's feedback. I know patterns, like you picked up on that pattern. You said this happens sometimes, but I know it's just this week. And I know that I can be consistent and I can be on track, and it'll go back in the direction I want it to.
Yeah.
Yep. Data. And you know, the other thing too is with the new WW plan that's going to be launching in like the next 2 weeks, I want to have really good, consistent data in my app. So when the plan launches and I'm on the new plan and doing the tracking, like I want to be able to compare my weeks, because my weight record isn't going anywhere. I'd love to see that I was on a losing streak before and can be on a losing streak under the new plan.
And Erin, I love that you gave that feedback to somebody in our Facebook group. Somebody was expressing they were a little concerned about the changes or staying on plan right now because they're like, a new plan's coming.
I'm just going to give up.
And I love that the feedback you gave was, no, like this would be a good time to get that data that you currently have so that you can do a true comparison to what's coming, not throw the weeks away. Because I can understand the person who posted, you know, it's kind of like, well, I'm just going to wait. What's the point? But saying, no, I'm going to use this as data is also a win, because that's tough to do when you know something new's coming. It's like the new year and throwing away December. It's like, what's the point right now? We're going to have something brand new.
Because that's going to be, it'll be more work for me to have to work off under the new plan. I know me. When I do that kind of thing, I'm not staying the same, and I'm not losing weight. I'm gaining, and I don't I need more work off.
And I think one of you guys made this point last week, but you know, WW is a multi-million, if not billion-dollar company. Like, they are not going to put their faith in a new program and switching things up if they didn't truly believe it was workable and doable. It's based in their science. They've done it before. So I think that, you know, as hard as it is, we have to kind of just put a little bit of faith in what they're going to roll out.
And I keep forgetting they have beta testers. You know, they've had people have been beta testing this for like, without us knowing.
Usually leaders too, right?
Coaches do. Yeah.
Yeah. I always remember our coaches would be like, I've been doing the plan for the past however many weeks. We're like, you traitor, you traitor. And shout out to Nadine, who is our in-person meeting coach, because that girlfriend has kept it completely under wraps. We knew, and even now she's still not saying anything. So WW, if you want a model employee who kept your, quiet plan, she's done it.
She does a little secret smile that, anyway, this week's topic is water. Okay. And that's what it's going to be, because that's what WW said. Okay. I'm a good WW employee. We love Nadine. We love Nadine.
We do.
She takes that non-disclosure agreement seriously. Very
Darn it.
Okay, Rikki, you're up.
All right. So I had a good week. I was down A 1.6 this week. I was really happy to see that number. I'm really trying to focus on the basics again. Measuring, I shared my little measuring cup that a lot of people said, it's also could be used as a shot glass, but I've been using it to make sure I'm really on point with whether it's syrup on my waffles or if it's coffee creamer, whatever it is, making sure salad dressing. For some reason, I feel like it's easier than doing the spoons because you can get 2 tablespoons in the little glass. So I focused on that and impulsivity. Erin, you talking about your, reaching for something and stopping yourself. Earlier in the week, it was harder for me to stop myself with the impulsivity. And I think I did get to a point later in the week where I said this has got to end. But, all in all, I was able to keep it together. I've been moving more and continued with my Peloton challenge. I'm about to finish week 3 of knowing my power zones. And that's been just an intense change in my workout level. So all those things together, I think, are working towards me just getting closer to that goal.
That's so good. I mean, it clearly, the impulse portion, clearly you managed it well and probably better than you give yourself credit for, because if you had a 1.6, 1.8, 1.6 loss,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to have a 1.6 loss, that to me says that you were managing impulses for sure.
Yeah. And you always round up. So you had a 2-pound loss, and that is
Right.
awesome.
There we go.
So anything above 5 is up. So congratulations on 2.
Yeah.
But really also the exercise. I just love, I
Yes.
know that you really wanted to push yourself and to, give yourself the ability to feel the changes in your body. And that for you to be what you said, week 3, or if you're
end of week 3.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's a 5-week program. So I already feel like, because before this, I would not really get on the bike on the weekends. It was like, okay, let me do 3-4 days during the week. That's good, which is not a bad thing. But the challenge to say, this is telling me I need to do these exercises 4 or 5 days a week, and I need to take gaps in between, which means that it's going to be at least one workout on a Saturday or a Sunday. And I can make time for it, but in the past, I've chosen not to. So making that mind shift too of just doing something on an off day, I think helps too.
All these mental changes. I mean,
you
could
guys
throw Bravo stars on all of you, I would.
Right?
You too.
It's all the sparkles. This is our Bravo sparkle. Here we go.
For those who are on the podcast, we're doing the jazz hands.
Yes, it's basically jazz hands in a circle here.
I always think of Bring It On or Spirit Fingers. If you haven't seen Bring It On, where he's like, these are spirit fingers. Okay.
So a question for you guys. This is just something I've been thinking about, and I have noticed this within myself, and I noticed this historically around this time of year when we move in from summer into the fall season. Now, I know that not everybody experiences season changes like we do here on the East Coast, but it's a hard season change to go from, 80-degree weather to, scarf and boot weather and sweatshirt weather. And there's something about wearing a sweatshirt that makes me want to nestle in and do nothing, to be a giant blob. And you guys know how dedicated that I have been with my walking. And I've even caught myself in the mornings going, I'm not doing this. It is too dang cold. It's like 50 degrees outside and I'm not prepared for it. Do you guys, and like also food wise too, like forget fresh salads, forget fresh fruit. Like I don't even want any of that. I just want crock pots, not to eat crock pots, to make things in crock pots, just to be clear.
Yes.
I feel bad because I never am in the mood for salad or fresh fruit all the time. So I don't miss it. I mean, I have to be intentional about wanting it. So I'm not like, oh my gosh, where's my fresh salad and nice strawberry, zucchini, and mint. Some zucchini and mint. But I do agree with you that I fall is my favorite time of year. The change of season is like Christmas to me, and Christmas is coming. But I love going for the walks. I don't like the fact that it gets darker sooner.
Yeah.
That to me is really hard with wanting to do exercise in the evening, because one of the things I love about the summer period here on the East Coast is you get daylight for hours. And now it's 6 p.m. or 7 and it's dark outside.
Yes.
That's when I'm ready to just go in and I'm like, the day's over. What's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point of moving?
Yeah. And I agree with you guys. And Erin, on your note with the food and the warm comfort things, it's great that there's so many 0-point soups, but when else in the year can I have like hot apple cider or like hot chocolate, those things that are seasonal and just remind you of all those positive, warm, fuzzy feelings from the holidays. So I think I've talked about this before, but I am definitely I have a problem if somebody stamps limited edition on something. Those marketing people, they know me. They like limited edition pumpkin spice Cheerios, limited edition. I'm like, well, this means I'll never see it again. I have to buy it.
Yeah. Right.
They had those at Whole Foods this week. I don't even like they had dark chocolate, caramel apple nut butter Reese's, but it's not really a Reese because it's a whole food flavor. And I was like, and it said limited edition. I said, well, obviously, even though I don't really want any of that, it's limited edition. Who cares if it's 6 points?
It's FOMO.
There you go.
Exactly.
It's FOMO. Okay, so could we camp out here a little bit on the change that comes with the change of season?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's something maybe to attack and a little bit, and maybe it's just a reframing in our mind of limited edition when it comes to some of the good things that come along with it. I guess where I probably land is like, I want to exercise less when it comes to winter, because selfishly, like I don't like sweating in the winter and like getting hot and getting blasts of cold air, like winter cold air, and even walking outside. Now I will say that I just hit up Amazon and bought myself another pair of my tall women's fleece leggings, and I actually bought a some little fleece jacket things to be able to walk outside.
Nice.
And I also bought some warmers, some like headband warmers that go over my ears. So I've told myself I'm going to approach this optimistically and approach this with success in mind, and not with you're going to either fail at this or it's going to be too daggone cold out there to be doing anything, right? Like I'm trying to write a different story in my mind, but it's a struggle.
But getting used to, that's an exciting, like you said, getting excited about the outfit or the new thing that you bought. That's a coping strategy. For me, it's getting excited about a new recipe, because there's some things you don't make during the summer, like you said, with the crock pot, whether it be pot roast, which is one of my favorites, putting something in there, just hear the smells when you come home. Crock pots allow you to be a lazy cook, and I love it. You just throw stuff in and people think you did something so amazing. So I love the fact that during this time of year, I get kudos in my household from my husband, and now my son. He's going to like it, darn it.
We know he will, because your kid eats better than you do.
He really does. He really does. He loves zucchini. So.
One thing that I was
not mine.
Yeah, he probably is. I don't know.
Does he enjoy his fruit with a little mint on it? Have you put a little mint on it?
I put some on his pineapple today. I think that Auntie Erin has had an effect on him.
That's hilarious. One thing that I think of, and I want to remind myself of this winter, is every winter we get through it and then we remember, oh, the season's going to change and I'm going to have to wear less clothes. And then we come out of it, and all of the, if it's been a season where you've gained a little bit, it's like, oh, I want to look great and feel comfortable in the summer when it's hot again. So I think winter also provides a great opportunity of time where you are covered up, and, you have this opportunity to come out of winter just being more comfortable and being able to fit into better clothes. And that's something that I want to hold on to with the holiday season, as these different holidays come up, as I'm putting these more comfortable clothes on where I feel like I can hide a little bit. I want to remember this is just a season and I need to prepare myself for the next one.
What do they say? Summer bodies are made in the winter.
Yeah.
I always hated those statements.
You're right.
While I was sipping
True,
my
though.
eggnog, I was like, oh,
Right.
shush. I don't want to hear that right now.
You know, Rikki, you just said something that resonated with me kind of loosely. So I'm going to reframe what you said and ask it as a question. But it's what do I want out of myself by the end of this season?
Mhm.
Have you guys thought about that even just like through Christmas? So I was looking at my record for Christmas for this year and the past year, and I definitely noticed a trend where I gain at least 4 pounds over Christmas, and I'm spending almost half a year trying to knock those 4 pounds off, which is to me ridiculous to be held so captive by 4 pounds. And so I started thinking for myself, I want to do everything that I can to maintain / lose, continue on the discipline and continue on the consistency and move downwards. My goal when I get to January 1 through the Christmas season, not to have gained weight. I've decided that's my intention for this year is I will not have gained weight this year.
I think that's and you know, I like that because it's not excessive. And not to say people who make goals to say they're going to lose 25 pounds during the holiday season. Hey, do you? But what I like about what you're saying is I'm just looking to maintain. I'm looking to make, and if I lose, I'm sure you won't be upset if you lose, but your goal is to keep it even keel and to break a pattern.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not looking, for the first time, I want to make a non-scale goal. I'm really, really getting addicted to this endurance that I'm having. And I feel really blessed that I do have the bike that is an indoor activity for me and wanting to keep that up and start to see gains because walking up the stairs is easier. Oh my gosh. And that sounds like maybe minor, but when I'm carrying a 25-pound son who sometimes wants to try to, break his neck and I got to hold him tight and I'm trying to walk up the stairs. I mean, it's a recipe for disaster. And I'm able to do that right now and not be winded going up the stairs.
That's
I want to keep that
win. That is such a big win. I don't think that's a little win at all.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many, ways that we could be immobile and not be able to move around freely, and to notice that improvement. Even, we look at the bike and try and make, or whatever exercise we're doing and try and make increments and like gains on that, but we can make the gains in other places too. And I think that's a great example of that.
Yeah. So when you talk about coming out of the season, I'm just thinking about all the different ways that my endurance will get even stronger and adding weights. And Erin, you really motivated me with strength training. And, I can do those things indoors. I can do hard things, and our Stepbet's coming up, and walking around. So I'm making more endurance goals for myself. That's where I'd like to be. My intention is to be stronger with my breathing, and to have better endurance.
I love that. And I'm so glad you mentioned too, like the Stepbet, because that's another piece that's been rolling in my mind. I mean, we're going to have the Stepbet that's going to be going from the week of Thanksgiving all the way through the week of Christmas. So we're going to intentionally have things that are going to keep us moving, unless we decide that we just want to chuck the $40 that we're putting down. But I know none of us are.
No way.
I will take your money. Just remember me in the back going, go ahead, don't walk. Go ahead. I'll take it. But people have been asking. I mean, this is the time to start figuring out how to walk while you're looking at social media. I've mastered that, by the way. I mean, you can turn on a good movie and get tons of steps walking in place, walking around, doing laundry. I mean, there's so many different ways. I promise. You don't have to be outside at night, because I understand what you're saying, Erin. It's cold out.
Yep.
And it's dark, and you have to be safe, ladies and gents. You have to be safe when you're out walking. So if you're not comfortable, bring it inside.
One of my favorite things is just to put on a TV show. And now that by the time we hit Christmas, there's all kinds of Christmas specials and Christmas movies.
Charlie Brown.
I love Charlie Brown. But, there's so many different things to watch. You just put on an episode, a 30-minute, 45-minute episode, and you march in place, walk in place while you watch the TV show. Boom. There you go. I actually did that this morning. Instead of going out for the walk, I stayed inside and I watched 30 minutes of a TV show, and I had 4,000 steps later.
Wow.
So,
and that's how you win a Stepbet.
And that's how you win a step bet.
Yes.
And that's how you don't relinquish your money to Candice.
But I will take it. I will take it. And then I will say, I'm so sorry. And I'm really praying for you, but I'll take your money.
Rikki, how about you? What are your thoughts for the rest of the year moving into the new year?
I totally love what you guys said. I think continuing with my fitness goals. But when I think about where I want to be in the new year, I want to be more comfortable in the clothes that I have, and I want to go shopping in my closet. I want to wear some things that have been a little too snug to wear out of the house. I want to be comfortable in them. So that involves loss. So I think it'd be realistic to say, absolutely, I'd love to get through the holiday season and not gain. Like, I would be perfectly happy with that. But thinking just beyond that into the new year, thinking a little further out, I really want to just start giving away some clothes that are too big and fitting into some things that are a size smaller, and then going from there to the next size down. But just doing that by being consistent with the workouts and just being less impulsive and making those hard choices. I got carrots this week, guys.
On purpose,
on purpose. They didn't like fall into my basket. Like, I made a choice to buy some carrots. So if anyone listening does not know this about me, I'm not. Erin's like, I don't know who this lady is.
My mouth is still wide open.
I was going to say, Erin, if you could just close it just a little, right?
The canyon is wide open here.
Yes, I'm not a fan of vegetables. I will eat, like, I like a Caesar salad, which is the salad for people who don't like salads. Like, it's like the simple, like, little, it doesn't have much vegetables on it. It's just some iceberg lettuce and some cheese.
Yeah.
So, and I don't even like croutons. So it's like, that's
now you lost me, Rikki. Okay. I was with you I was here with you, nodding my head, and then you say stuff blasphemous like, I don't like croutons.
I don't like croutons.
I don't know. I know.
It's just garlic bread. It's like,
but it's crunchy. I don't want, like, you have to fight with it.
You don't have good croutons then. You got some cheap croutons.
If I have a crouton that's not super crunchy and, like, I feel like I'm going to break a tooth, then I don't mind them. But I usually, if I'm choosing calories, I'd rather take those out.
I understand that.
Calories in there.
I don't understand.
But yeah, I bought the carrots. I got some a dip to go with them. But that was a conscious choice I made this week to say, okay, I eat broccoli every week and I'm sick of it. I'm going to continue to eat broccoli because it's one of my staples and that's how I get vegetables in. But I'm going to add something else too. And it may not be my favorite thing in the world to have it in the middle of the day when I want a Reese's, but I can do hard things.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
I want to give again, bravo. We need Erin.
I've got my 2, star 3. Back.
Bravo hands.
Thanks, ladies.
That is, I mean,
it's our Bravo sparkle.
Bravo sparkle, and it comes down really slow.
Right.
Erin, like your assignment is to find something here that can, like,
no, honey, I found it.
Okay.
It's right here. It's all in me.
I'm being greedy. But that's Rikki, you know that's major. You know.
Yes, I know I got us off topic, but I wanted to share that because, like, that's what's going to get me and anyone else who's in the same situation. Those little changes each week are going to get us to our goals.
Can I ask a question about your carrots? Are they baby carrots or are they?
They're your favorite kind of carrots.
Are they vacation carrots?
They're vacation carrots. I will have to share a picture of these because I saw them in the store and I feel like I like those better. Like, they taste a little bit better, you know?
Vacation carrots are just crinkle cut carrot chips, basically. And they carry dip really well, way better than a standard baby carrot.
They do.
It's just elevated.
Candice, you got quiet.
Great. No, they sound awesome. I'm really excited about these carrots. I'm going to add them to my cart. No, I'm not. But I'm very excited because I should be excited. That's a good thing.
Yes.
Carrots. I like carrots soggy, like in a stew. You know, like when you make them, and I don't want to crunch my carrot. I want it to just melt in my mouth. The same thing with celery. I want it where it's almost is just
it just falls apart in your face.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when I'll eat it.
Well, okay, can I make a recipe recommendation to you guys? That's super easy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I love, especially this time of year, because they have the rainbow carrots out, which are just, there's like a purple, there's usually a bag that's purple, yellow, and orange. And you can do this with the all orange carrots. Preheat your oven to 425. Take your pound of carrots, and then peel them and then cut them on an angle. Okay. Candice, your face is so great.
I'm listening. I'm processing.
Okay.
She's not
carrots.
accepting
Got
this.
it.
cut them on an angle and maybe about a half an inch thick, and then toss them with a tablespoon of olive oil and salt. That's it. And then spread them out on your cookie sheet and then bake them, roast them for like 30 minutes. And the sugar that's in the carrots kind of caramelize with that roasty flavor. And then you have this little bit of that salty pop. It's kind of like, when you eat kettle corn, you've got that sweet and salty thing going on. They are delicious. And my family loves when I roast carrots. And that's now something for Thanksgiving. It's requested that I bring the roasted carrots like that.
You said caramelized, so that makes me excited. Something about the word caramelized is generally a good thing. But
So delicious.
Brussels sprouts. Don't sleep on Brussels sprouts. I don't know why I forget this until the holidays. There's in Joanna Gaines' first cookbook, there's a recipe for a balsamic glazed Brussels sprout recipe, and it does have some bacon in it. You can do it with or without the bacon. One of the most delicious things I've ever had. And I think I don't think about it until the holidays, and then I make it, but it's absolutely delicious.
I love it. I just picked up a bag of Brussels sprouts so I could do that. And again, there's just something about tossing a vegetable with a little bit of olive oil and then roasting it on a sheet pan that just takes the flavor to a next level. Even cabbage.
Yes,
Making
I
like
do love
cabbage steaks, right?
Yes,
If you
forget about these things.
Cabbage is amazing that way. Like cabbage is not the first thing I think that I'm going to grab in the store, but it's incredible. And if you even do cauliflower, roast the cauliflower, put some garlic cloves on a sheet pan, and then you can either eat it that way. Oh, and a little bit of some onion, kind of chop up a little bit of onion and put that on it, roast it all together. You could either eat it that way or put it in the blender with some chicken stock and turn it into a roasted cauliflower.
Now that sounds good.
That does sound good.
Erin, you're going to slowly but surely change my mind about veggies, because all of those things that you mentioned, I could do. I could do that.
They sound great.
You could even put that roasted cauliflower mixture that we just talked about. You could even put that in a food processor and blend it up like a cauliflower mash, like mashed potatoes. Serve it with roast chicken, chicken thighs, roasted chicken thighs. Oh my goodness.
I'm just remembering the craze with cauliflower. Remember when cauliflower was like, oh my gosh, it replaces everything with potatoes. And I hated that phase.
Yeah, everyone's like, it tastes the same. And it's like,
no, it doesn't.
It's not mashed potatoes.
No, it doesn't.
It tastes like cauliflower.
It's runny. Like, yeah, it's not. Doesn't
just tell me the truth. I'm okay with you saying it's cauliflower. You don't have to pretend.
If you do that, it's just a regular cauliflower in there, like just treating it as like what that is. It's super good. I like it. Even some leeks. Okay, what are some staples for you guys for fall and winter? What are you making? What's taking over the kitchen?
You know what I discovered years ago and I like to do is baked oat, like putting overnight oatmeal in the crock pot. Ooh. And you can add I forgot who started the trend, but they were like, make it overnight. Put it in the crock pot with the steel cut oats, and you can cut up your your fruits, cinnamon. It smells great. And when you wake up in the morning, it's there and it's hot and it's yummy. And so that's something I like to do during this time.
I think there's a really good recipe from WW in the app for slow cooker overnight oats.
Yeah.
That I've made before.
Yeah. And it refrigerates well. It makes many servings, and you can have it for your breakfast for the week.
You can freeze it too. If you can't eat all of it at once, you can freeze it.
Didn't know that.
It really well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll try that too.
Yep.
So for me, I love my mom's greens, and they're just like my grandma's greens. But like with the mystery, it's not quite mystery meat. It's like ham hocks,
Fat back.
which I don't know if I know exactly what ham hocks are.
They're part of the ham. It's not mystery meat.
Well, do you know what part of the ham it is?
Yeah,
The
it's
hock.
the hock. It's a leg. It's a leg.
Okay,
It's the
when you
fatty
say
part of the
hock,
leg.
I'm not thinking leg. I'm like, I don't know, some part of its body, but okay, leg. So I tried to kind of recreate it, and again, I'm not saying this is the same. Do not go back and tell my mother or somebody that this is the same. But last year I made collard greens. I think I tried it with kale one time too. If you put it with the regular seasoning, same seasoning packet that my mom would use, but instead of using the meat, I did chicken broth. And it gave it just a lot of meaty flavor without having to use those meats. And I don't think it's a bad thing to use those, but I think it's a little harder to track because it does have more fat in it. So I enjoyed that. And that was kind of like a good alternative for me.
I got you ham seasoning last year. Have you tried any of the ham seasoning? You don't even remember, do you? I had it drop shipped to your house.
And on the next real WW talk, we'll figure out where the ham seasoning went.
I moved. Where? I'm trying to remember what.
I got you ham seasoning.
I don't remember this.
To put in your greens.
Just blame it on the move, Rikki. Blame
It's
it on
in my
the
mom's house because I was at my mom's house last year. I'm gonna look for it.
Unbelievable. Because I was like, because I know she's making her greens, and we use ham seasoning and the ham hock in ours.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna
drop ship more. I'm not drop shipping any more ham seasoning to you.
No more ham seasoning for you.
But that is a good point, though, Rikki, on using the seasonings can help give you the flavor if you don't want to.
Yes.
But I'm not going to lie, a little smoked turkey leg or, smoked turkey butt or something like that in the greens, I'm willing to figure that out too.
Well, I feel bad because I want to try like what Rikki said, but my grandmother yelled at me. Like, she's straight Southern, she's Virginia, and she was like, you need fat back in the greens. I said, oh, well, I was going to make it healthier. She was like, no.
Listen, your grandma is still alive, and she's what, 90?
90 years old.
Wow.
90 years old. So I'd listen to her make it with
this up against grandma's. This is not a side by side. This is a lesser alternative.
I come in peace.
Right.
I'm waving a white flag.
But Rikki, you just made a really good point on ways that we can lighten the load of some of our favorite family recipes, where especially as we're going into the holidays, is learning what are the recipes that we can lighten if it is worth it, right? Or if it's worth it to eat and make the real thing because we only have it one time or two times for a special event. Like Candice, I know for you, you've got that pound cake.
Yeah.
There's the pound cake that your family makes. You're like, there are no substitutions in this pound cake.
I tell my dad every year, he's like, you're going to make that. Like, I said, I just want to be clear. This is the most unhealthy. Do not add, it's just butter, sugar, cream cheese.
Yes.
In large amounts and flour. So, but can I just ask you all, what is something that you all don't struggle with during this season? Just curious. What is something that isn't hard for you?
I can walk away from a pie.
Did you just say you can walk away from a pie?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have a cheesecake or a pound cake or a cake or a cookie. I mean, I could go, but pies, I mean, my grandmother made a great sweet potato pie, and I do not, the recipe unfortunately did not pass from her. So that would probably be the only exception. But I don't have that, unfortunately.
I got to be honest. This season is a really hard season for me. I don't know that there isn't something that I don't struggle with, because this is the season where I love to bake and I love to cook. And it's also a season for me where I struggle a little bit more with the food intolerance side, because there's so many, like you talked about, like the limited edition things.
Mhm.
There's so many things that I can't participate in, which makes me feel deprived. And so I will sometimes give myself extra permission to enjoy something else that I know that I can enjoy or that I've made on my own. And I'll overindulge in it because I feel deprived and feel like I'm missing out. And the hard part with the baking for this season is if I'm baking the gluten-free, it's gluten-free and dairy-free. And, for me to make a pie is a dollar equivalent of sometimes like $10 for the ingredients that go into it. And then I have the feeling like I can't waste this because it costs so much money to make. You guys, I just spent, it's hard. This gets to be the season where it's hard to find gluten-free flour because, everybody's baking with it. And so I managed to go to the grocery store and found somebody after going to 3 different grocery stores who had my gluten-free flour, and they had plenty of it on the shelf. So when I tell you how many bags I bought, I used it with a filter of, I made sure there was stuff left on the shelf.
Okay.
But I spent $60 buying gluten-free flour.
Wow.
And that was 6 bags of gluten-free flour at, I think they were 3-pound bags.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
It is not cheap by any stretch, but that should last us through Christmas and any baking we're going to do at Christmas. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, this season is hard for me from the food perspective, from the exercise perspective, because I just don't feel like it because of the weather change. That's a good question, Candice, because that gives me something to really think about and really be motivated of, like I said, I want to at least go through Christmas maintaining and losing.
Mhm.
And to maintain and lose means I have to be disciplined and consistent in my habits. And that's really hard when there's so much food and so many baked goods.
Yeah. Because for me, my baked goods are my love,
Me too.
everything. I love everything about it. But I like them, but I can be less tempted by the drinks. Like I don't have, although I do like Starbucks coffee and, the flavored, I could do without it if I had to. Like during this holiday season, I'm not one who's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for eggnog. I can't wait for the tea. I don't choose. That's not where I choose to spend my points. I will though, if I'm off plan, if I'm like, I don't care at all, I'll just, do it. But the sweets is usually usually where I struggle. So I'm trying to be intentional going into the holiday season to not make drinks a priority if it's not something that I care about. Just because it's there. If I can say no, say no.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing from you, and even just hearing from what Rikki had said earlier, is you're like with the croutons, right? Finding the places that you can make the cuts to make more room for something else you'd enjoy more.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm going to have the 25-point piece of pound cake, and I'm not going to feel bad about it.
Well, so do you guys struggle with things like that show up as sides that you typically wouldn't have? Like I'm thinking specifically of rolls. Like I don't typically have a dinner roll with my meal, but on the holidays, there's warm dinner rolls on the table. I remember, was it Diane, one of our meeting members, who would always have the crescent rolls? Am I thinking of someone else? But
Wendy.
It was Wendy. So she would always have a crescent roll, and she knew the points of it. She knew that this is something that I always have, and I'm going to make room for it. That's something for me that if it's there in front of me, I really want it. But if I don't buy it, I'm not going to miss it. So I think I'm going to be intentional about thinking about if I need that to even be in the house around the holidays.
That's a great point because they're like 5 points.
And then you're not going to eat it without butter, right?
Right. And a pat of butter is
roll.
3 points to go on top of it. And chances are you're probably going to have 2 rolls.
Because
right?
what's one, right?
Exactly.
Right.
That's for the first round.
That's a warm up. That first roll is just a warm up until it's later.
Absolutely. Well, I thought that was just good for us to think about too, because I know it's going to be a struggle, but there are things that don't have to be if we're honest with ourselves. And not everybody's the same. I love the diversity even within the 3 of us. I'm like croutons, I got to have them. Rikki's like, drinks. Rikki's probably like, you're going to say no to Starbucks. And I'm like, yeah.
I mean, apple cider, I already had some apple cider this season.
Whereas I'm like, I mean, I could. I mean,
I just had I went apple picking over the weekend with the bestie. You guys, we came back with, I kid you not, probably about 50 pounds of apples for between what we picked and then what we bought to be able to make pies and crumbles and all that jazz. And so right now I'm trying, you'd be so proud of me. My mom made this most amazing slab pie with apples made out of gluten-free, dairy-free puff pastry. I couldn't believe it. It's so good. I wanted to be able to go eat the whole thing, right? I'm like, you don't have to eat the whole thing. Everybody else can eat and enjoy it, and they're liking it too. But because I had a piece yesterday, I decided I wasn't going to eat a piece today because tomorrow is our big competition, our chili competition at work. And we have corn. I've volunteered for our team to make the cornbread, which is a part of the competition. And so I knew I was going to be eating cornbread tonight because I'm testing the recipe. So do I want the apple thing? Where am I going to do the cornbread? And so I did not eat the apple thing because I ate the cornbread.
Huge.
It's huge.
Wow.
It's making that choice.
More spear fingers here. I mean, towards the end of the episode. I mean, come on, guys.
Which way? There we go.
We need that consistently. Erin, that's awesome. And I smile because I am more than willing to help you with the apples. If there's things that you want to make and you want to stop by, in an effort to be a good friend.
She didn't say I will take the apples from you.
I didn't say
After
I want to
you
eat the
make
apples. After you make something that is dessert-like, if you'd like to bring it over, I promise I will eat a portion and not the whole thing.
Make some more of your apple cream cheesecake apple.
Yeah, I know Erin can't have that, right?
No, but I meant you.
But you can.
No, the whole point is for Erin to make something. That it requires me to make it. I was saying for Erin to make something and bring it over.
You're very persistent with that, Candice.
I'm going to be bringing you guys over some applesauce, some fresh made 0 point applesauce, because these are super sweet apples.
Gee, golly.
Gee, thanks so much.
I've heard that's good when it's fresh.
Look at Rikki's face.
I was trying to smile, but
the moment from today, right there.
She was like, that's I'm sorry.
Candice is like, I'll take whatever Erin makes. Erin, I'm going to bring you applesauce. Rikki, I've heard that's good if it's homemade.
Gee, you're such a healthy friend. That's such a WW thing to bring over.
Yay.
I want your apple crisp, okay?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. All right, I think this is a good note to end our conversation on. Would you agree?
I think that's it.
I think
That's all I got.
Oh my goodness. Well, we wish you a good week on plan, and maybe we've given you some food for thought. Definitely not intended as a pun, that's for sure. And I hope think about how you want this season to go. Like we are. Part of being disciplined and being consistent means that we're actively doing the things that make us disciplined and consistent. They aren't things that are sneaking up on us. It's